Hey, all right. So we are heading back into Washington D.C. Yeah, there was some technical difficulties with the streaming the other day in front of the United States Supreme Court. It was relayed through other platforms, and we're going to revisit that soon. We have a whole lot more coming up. Um, yeah, every day there's information pouring in because we have self-represented litigants, parents that are actively weathering this storm. We have Danielle out in California. We have Tess in Indiana, Wade in Oklahoma. We have parents that are lockstep in federal battle in the DC court from California, from Florida, engaging like one person's in Florida. Well, they're in Florida, but they're in court in DC. They're physically in Florida. Their case is being battled out in DC, and the harm is coming out of Colorado. Like myself, the harm came out of Napa County, and I'm battling. I'm in the Eastern District. I'm in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but I'm battling also in DC from East Coast to West Coast. Um, so there's also some folks in Virginia that are pressing that battle forward, and so we're constantly learning because we're filing, and as we file, we learn, and then we relay to one another, and then each one of us relays here to the public. So heading back into DC right now. Some of y'all may have seen when I went to Senator Grassley's office. I was there that day to drop off press packets relative to my issue and my request to the United States Supreme Court for a writ of certiorari. I was seeking, and I still am seeking, an amicus brief or amicus curiae. I had sent my information to the Solicitor General's office, and also we're asking for an amicus from either a congressman or a senator, because that helps expand that 1% window that's so hard to get through. Is at least with the amicus, I mean with the writ of certiorari, it's it's a 1% that they take up, maybe 2% I think at the most, but you can expand that window by making your requests more cert worthy or Supreme Court worthy by doing certain things. And amicus brief is one of them, from what we've learned. Um, but that 1 to 2% is really less because there's all the obstacles. That's just the amount of cases that they take up. So that's an obstacle within itself. But then there is the the obstacle of cost and logistics that creates a smaller number than that very small number already. So the other people that are filing, that are also filing here in DC, I'm fortunate enough to be within proximity of the nation's capital to be able to make the leap in. We will be sitting down with a parent, people that came from all over the country. I've met them here, seen them, and at times people were coming here to kind of, they were they had a hypothesis and they were trying to test it to see if this legal strategy would work. And you have the "We the People" writ, you have the "We shall be free," you got all these different things that people were trying to punch through. But if you spend time here in the nation's capital and you go ask questions, and there's a lot to learn to see what's really tangible and what's not. And when I was here, I was going places and asking questions, and I was listening to people that are contributors from different platforms, and they would relay or recommend. And then sometimes people would just throw something out there, like throwing spaghetti at the wall because somebody else furnished them with that information and they're relaying or regurgitating, but it may not be something that's even tangible. And so then somebody may go try to run that path down, and it's all for nothing. Finding a factual is critical. So that's what we're litigators. They're self-represented, and that's the Supreme Court, the federal court, that's district court, and from different places, different states, different counties, people using different different AI platforms, different levels of acumen, financial status. And what we're doing is we're using all of that to create something that'll be able to just give people this information so that they can start off in a better place from the outset instead of having to go through all this harm for lack of knowledge. And I swear, everybody I speak to that's been in this for a good while, that if they would have known what they know right now at that moment in time, they could have navigated this much more effectively. And so we don't want people to suffer that. So we're trying to learn as much as we can and then relay it to other folks. But right now we are back in the nation's capital to let me see here. Hold on. What's this? Oh no. And so that's where we're going. I gotta go pick up this parent who was lured here over state lines through the internet under false pretense by one of these predatory contributors. And so we're filing federal action here in the nation's capital against the individuals responsible for that, because too many people have told people, oh, come here, get on a plane. You're not coming? Oh, you're not going to go? And, they're spending hundreds of dollars on plane tickets and hotels and this and that. And they're thinking they're going to this is the thing. When in reality, some of these people that are calling them here, they're going to benefit because they have all these people filling out these documents. Then they can turn and say, look, I got hundreds and I got thousands of people. It looks like a client list almost. And so then people are showing up and it's not what, it ain't what they're saying it is. And unfortunately, many of the things that they've done here or didn't do, even, they could have done it from their own state or their own county. But they came all the way here, and it's hard to see their faces of disappointment, and so I just kept seeing it, and I just minded. I was like, I don't want nothing to do with any of these people or these things that are doing it. I'm just doing my thing, trying to find some actionable intelligence for people so they could try to weather through it. But then I started seeing people that were showing up and got played. They're part of a new play, a different playbook. And looking me in my face, telling me like, "Oh no, this one's different." I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Did you forget already that I was here and saw I was actually physically here and saw you get played? So how are you participating in playing somebody else?" But you let them tell it. And I think some of these people are, when they see the money and the tax breaks and some of these things, I think their eyes wide open. And so then they start thinking, well, hey, so, if somebody's been broken and they help break other people, man, forget about that. And so now it's time to actually prefer federal action in a courtroom, produce the evidence, give it to the dang judges, serve the other people, and ask that they be held accountable. Not the wolf tickets, not the I'm gonna. There's more than enough evidence out there to support that something was done wrong here. It ain't the first time it's happened, and it ain't the only people. But then, what's even crazier is you start to see some of the people that do the harm, they link up with the other people. And then you got like a posse of people that are looking to line their pockets or whatever, and it's just like, oh my goodness, Oh, so I think it's important for somebody who's been harmed to actually hold these people accountable, so that a message is sent to would-be predatory abusers that are scheming folks for the love of money. For the love of money. Uh, so that's what we're here, minutes away from the D.C. courthouse. I have action preferred here. I'm in a completely unique circumstance of my own, and I keep holding the line to fulfill my promise to God that I made when I got on my knees and succumbed to the mission when I was in Virginia. I promised to stand firm with other folks, and I keep holding my ground waiting and waiting to meet people that are like-minded and that are being and I do meet folks from time to time. I will not say that I have not met some of those people. And the best thing that we can do is help these people learn how to fight for themselves. Because how most people have been getting played is these people been talking fast and furious and blah blah blah, and then the people are like, "Oh man, I could just hand this off to them to fight the battle for me," and then that's how they get played. Rather than strengthening, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So the people that are like, "Yeah, here I got the wisdom, I'll do this for you," that means you don't. You're think about that. Really think about why wouldn't somebody want you to learn how to fight for yourself, and so that you can also teach other people to fight for themselves and create an army of people who can self-defend, right? Anyhow, so here we are. I'll tap back in with you guys here briefly once we're loaded up, and the DC courthouse is just right there. So there's a see where we're at. We put landmarks in the frame, so you know this isn't no dang AI. But we're gonna go pick somebody up. I got the documents ready. I'll show them to y'all when we get ready to file, and then we will send them off for service. But we got more to do. We got a 60B motion to file. Um, there's a lot going on in Napa County with these motions to disqualify arbiters. They're not complying with the commission, not the Commission for Judicial Performance, but the Judicial Council, who's chaired by Patricia Guerrero, who is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the State of California. So they're not complying with their own mandatory rules. It says must and shall, but they're not doing that. And whenever that happens, that's a huge indicator that there's malfeasance. So we're going to show you the malfeasance and how it's malfeasance. Instead of just boo-hooing and complaining, we're going to show you guys the sleight of hand, because then it'll make more sense. Alrighty. We went live last time in front of the Supreme Court, but I think today we'll be doing in front of the White House. And I know there's the federal court, that red building that everybody seems so interested in. Or not everybody, but quite a few people that are interested in that red building over by the Supreme Court. I've been in there. I went with one of the litigants. He went to go file, Adam Stauffer. He went to go file his documents. They were rejected. He tried to file without paying the filing fee, and he was under the impression that his documents would overpower that, and unfortunately it didn't. And so what he did, he was very opposed to using anything that had to do with Latin terminology, writ of mandamus, writ of certiorari, anything along those lines. He said it was the devil's tongue, and so he was strongly opposed to doing anything like that. But the path that he was using, it wasn't working. It worked in New York for him under certain, in some ways it worked for him where he was at, but what he was trying to achieve here didn't work. But when he augmented it together and got off that trip of what he was trying to kick, then all of a sudden he started relaying the writ of the All Writs Act. I learned about the All Writs Act from him, but he filed a writ of mandamus here in D.C. And then he learned about the All Writs Act. He shared that with me, and then I shared it with other people. And like I say, those that are navigating self-rep, pro se, pro per, whatever, in these federal courts, we're learning from one another. But once he did the mandamus and the other here in D.C., he's been rocking and rolling with it. We don't speak anymore. One day he was running his mouth about something. He said he don't live in fear. I was trying to explain to him that I have a unique circumstance, and there's really dangerous people involved. They kidnapped and murdered my first wife's father, threw his body on the freeway. it's really dangerous folks, and so I have to be mindful of that. That's I don't just stand in opposition to the corrupt people in Napa County like Allison Haley and these arbiters that have discharged these overt acts, but there's also the gangsters that they're helping out. They're doing the bidding of organized crime and FTOs. And he was like, "Oh, well, I don't live in fear like that or whatever." Well, did the cartel murder your family? Then shut your face, man. You know what I mean? Like I can't stand when people try to kick this false courage stuff when their circumstance ain't the same, or they ain't never like, "Oh, well, if I was the one that did it, oh, if I was the one that did it, I would have done this or I would have done that." Like people that talk about if they went to Iraq or if they went to Afghanistan, they would do that. I didn't go, so I don't kick that stuff to be like I would have done this. Well, I didn't go, so I don't have no business trying to say what I would or would not have done. And people that try to kick that false courage, a lot of time when the dangerous stuff comes into play, they turn yellow, they run around, and they start screeching and all that tough talk about not living in fear. You know what I mean? And like, I'll give a perfect example. They said the lady that got hit over there in the water by the shark on Monterey Bay, they said that she don't live in fear and blah, blah, blah. No, she ain't living in fear. She ain't living at all, man, because she was out swimming where the sharks are at, and a shark ate her. So it's like, it's not about living in fear. Sometimes you just got to be like, probably not a good idea, especially when cartel people that kidnap and murder people. Well, I don't know. Probably not a good idea to high side in front of them or nothing, right? But but this dude, he was always trying to compare his circumstance to everybody else's, and that everybody should deal with their circumstance like he did. And I was just like, man, that's ridiculous, man. Um, but that's some of the hard lessons you learn when you're trying to navigate all this stuff. That there are some eccentric people, there are some hard chargers, there are some people that are not so much hard charging, but they're still kind of like, there's some of them are legally shell shocked, I think. Like and they'll admit that they have PTSD from this, and but it's like, hey, what are you waiting for? Like what are you waiting for to jump into the legal battle and get busy? Are you waiting for your legal enemy to stop? Because I doubt that they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna just stop because it's the right thing to do. If that was the case, they wouldn't have done it to you to begin with. So I hope people don't expect for the folks that are brutalizing them to just stop without. It was an object in motion will stay in motion until acted upon by equal or greater force. Well, all right, I'm gonna tap out for now because um, we're here in DC.